boat. Except for, second unit point guard. He can have one. He went to Maryland. He's a terrapin, for crying out loud. I don't know why they just call them turtles. Sorry. We've been very Colin heavy this month.
That's very good.
But I don't think people realize the amount of work that goes into, like, when you do crowd work, and the separate. Look, I did a scene with Tom Cruise where it's his close up, and during the scene, he realized I was too far away from the camera, so his eye line wasn't gonna match.
Oh,
does that make sense?
yeah. Well,
Okay,
yeah,
so he knew that the shot was from like his nipples up.
right.
So just below his nipples, as he's talking to me, he takes his finger and he points. He points me over like this, like move closer to the mat box.
Right.
As he's talking.
Right. Wow.
And as he's talking, he's like going, go, 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 with his finger.
Yeah.
And then I move my head over to the mat box of the camera, and he gives me a fucking okay sign by his belly. Never stops talking.
Wow.
And I've never seen that until I saw you.
So he's disconnected this part of his body, and he's doing other. That's pretty cool.
Just from the neck up.
Yeah.
My meathead from the neck up.
Yeah.
But you have this total disconnect. You have, we should do this again sometime whenever you get out to LA or whatever, if you ever stop playing the tri-state area.
How was it with Clint Eastwood? Was my boyhood action hero. I've seen every movie since Thunderbolt and Lightfoot that he's put out. What was that experience like working with Clint Eastwood?
He asked me one day, he said, JJ, would you like to join me for a Czechoslovakian beer? In a sports bar. And I go, no, I don't drink. And he goes, well, then I guess you're done for the day.
Really?
But
you turned down a beer with Clint Eastwood?
Well, am I going to fall off the wagon and start my days over?
Yes.
Yeah, have one
That's
beer.
what I said.
Man
I
up.
do a show in my act. I do a thing in my act where I'm like, maybe I should have just drank with Clint, fell off the wagon. Then I would have been J. Edgar Hoover, win the Oscar. I'm doing blow off a toilet tank at the Shrine Auditorium. I get my Oscar, go to the rehab
Just
the next day.
Story.
Go to the rehab the next
you
day.
Order a beer and you don't
go,
drink
I'm
it.
here, I'm jam an alcoholic,
it.
and I'm here because my life got real manageable.
You just order a beer and don't drink it, just for the story to have,
Well, I said no. Do you want me to tell you what happened? You guys want to fucking make fun of me?
Have a fucking water.
That's not what he asked. It was specific.
Well,
Would you
then
like to join me for a Czechoslovakian beer? And I said, no, thank you, but I appreciate it. And he says, well, then I guess you're done for the day.
That's great.
But he said it like...
Did he seem like pissed a little?
Very.
Really?
And I'm in the van going back to the hotel like, did I just get fired?
Wow.
And then the next day I show up and he goes, how long has it been since you've had booze or alcohol in your body?
Yeah.
And I go, I don't know. I never really kept track. May 5th, 1998. I don't know. And he goes, my problem was never booze or drugs. Are you wearing a mic?
Right.
Which is a totally weird question if you're in a movie, because all you wear a mic and there's a boom operator guy, and Matt Damon's next to me wearing a mic.
Yeah,
Clint Eastwood heard us act, so he knows we're wearing mics because he heard it. And I go, yeah. And he goes, cover it up. So I put my hand over my mic, which is like in my sweater against my chest, my collarbone. But meanwhile, Matt Damon's got a hot mic right next to me, and the boom guy's now like getting closer, like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And he goes, my problem was never booze or alcohol, JJ. My problem was always P-U-S-S-Y.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God. And he spelled it like so the sound guy wouldn't hear it. You know what I mean? Like he spelled it.
That's weird.
He should have asked you if you had a podcast.
Jesus.
What?
He's echoing you wearing a mic, and now you're on your podcast. Just
How
the story to 250,000
many years ago
people.
was this Eastwood?
3 years ago.
What shape was he in, would you say, physically?
Great.
Yeah?
I'll tell you a quick story. He, at OttoandGeorge.com, at Otto and George, OttoandGeorge.com. And
I love Clint Eastwood. I fucking
not
love
for
him.
the faint of heart. Consider yourselves warned. Do you get sick of that when you do gigs and it's like triple X rated, beware? Or do you like that they warn everybody?
They ask for their money back. It's fine.
Very smart.
Yeah.
They did a
a rating
tsunami
system.
scene in Hawaii in the movie Hereafter. And the actress is French. There's a picture boat, and there's like 4 boats if you're filming in the ocean. I suppose I wasn't there. It's just what they told me. And he goes, tell her I need her to face this way because I wanted the sun in her eyes. And like they're yelling to somebody in another boat on the other side of the lady, but she's French, so it has to be translated to like the kid actor in the water with her. And meanwhile, you got 40 people floating in the Pacific Ocean. Like Warner Brothers is like, how about we just shoot it, Clint?
Yeah.
And he goes, God damn it. And he takes his pants off and his shirt off and in his underwear dives into the Pacific Ocean. and swims like 40 yards, like beautiful freestyle, all
Wow.
the way out to the lady, and in perfect French goes, Maintenant, c'est j'ai besoin qu'on cet garçon dit ça. And in perfect French, tells her what he wants. And then instead of swimming back to the picture boat, he just kind of like treads water out of, he knows where the frame is.
Out of camera, yeah.
But he's out, I'm sure Warner Brothers is like, somebody get him. He's going to get eaten by a orca.
79-year-old man, yeah.
Yeah,
Jesus.
he's out there treading water. And it's like
Holy
20
shit.
minutes.
Wow.
And then he goes, all right, call it. God.
Wow.
And then he just swims back to the boat and puts his clothing. He goes, does anyone have a towel?
Jeez.
And the hair and makeup people have towels
Yeah,
in case
yeah.
like something gets spilled. So he's got these little like bullshit towels that you get at like Bally's gym.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's got like 40 of them. And the producer guy that was telling me the story, I go, how weird was it? He goes, weirder than you think. I go, why? He goes, he wasn't winded.
Jesus
When he
Christ.
starts a scene, he doesn't yell action, right? He goes whenever
No.
you're ready or something
He goes,
like that.
whenever you're ready.
Because he says it startles actors when you go, action, like that. And
He goes, when was the last time you yelled action in your life?
yeah. Yeah.
I go, never. He goes, then why the hell would I yell it in the lobby of a bank with
said
people
that to
playing
you?
make-believe?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He goes, my first day in the scene, on the set, you only get one take, so I was terrified.
yeah.
That's the only time I've
They
been.
told you going in.
Everyone tells you. That's the thing with him. You only get
take.
one. It's one take, and
Just
it's good
one?
enough. And
Really?
if you got hired, it's because he trusts that you can just do it. Don't bullshit us.
Wow.
What if you flub a fucking line?
Then obviously you got to do it over, Joe. They're not
I mean,
going to keep
but
it in
you know,
Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
But I mean,
the
come
Korean guy
on.
goes, "That's sorry. I think
Let's explain all the details here.
That's what's amazing about Iwo
That would-
Jima.
that
It's
would-
all in Korean. No one knows that they're ruining their lines.
How did you do? You did fine.
I did fine, but what happened was the guy, the steady cam operator, had to walk backwards as me and Matt Damon walk really quickly because I'm super excited to show him his new office.
Yeah.
And there's a weird office building, so a couple times the steady cam guy, like his hip hit a radiator, or like they're like, I'm sorry, I lost focus because the timing was off. So the camera operator messed up like 3 times, so then all the pressure's off.
Yeah, yeah.
Already the day's bananas for Clint. So if I mess up, I know he's going to chalk it up to one of those days.
Yeah. That's great.
But he
he talks like that.
Yeah, we go in the
How would
elevator.
you like a Czechoslovakian beer?
He goes, you and Matt, can I talk to you guys, boys? Can I talk to you boys for a second?
Wow.
You guys are going to start here in the. And every other movie, it's so. Like your footsteps, there's tape on the floor for the camera operator. Like when you get to this piece of tape, it's 14 feet. When you get to this piece of tape, it's 20 feet. When you get to, not with Clint, you guys come out of the shot starts when you guys come out of the elevator and just come down the hallway and we'll follow you. You guys talk until you go into the office and we may cut. Just keep talking because I might follow you guys in there and see if I can make it work.
Yeah.
And you go, okay. And then you go, all right, so you guys go to the elevator, or whenever you're ready, I'll pick you up. So you're standing in an elevator, and Matt Damon's going, dude, let me tell you something. Just enjoy yourself, because this is going to be over before you know it.
Wow.
It's going to be over before. And you realize, as Matt Damon's talking, Clint Eastwood's 14 feet away going, why aren't they coming out yet? So you go, should we go out? And he goes, oh, yeah. So you literally just walk out and start talking, and it's just this well-oiled machine just starts walking backwards as you do your thing.
It's
That's
amazing.
fucking amazing, man.
And
That's
everyone,
really cool.
you'll love this story.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie in what's the movie she did where her kid got taken? Changeling?
Yeah. That's it, Eastwood.
He goes, honey, you come out and go to the window. And that's the shot.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I think this character, that's something Clint doesn't
Oh,
like.
he doesn't like that.
Don't bring any ideas to work.
Yeah.
I got
Really?
it. We've mapped, it's a Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah.
And I've hired people that I think are just going to do well in this system.
He doesn't like pretension, right? And that
No,
actor-ish
what does he
shit.
know?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
What does he know?
I meant that. You
Yeah.
know, what does he know about pretension? You know,
Yeah.
he just shows up and
Yeah.
goes, "All right, why don't you take off all your clothes and we can have sex?
Pussy.
Don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna cry, I'll call someone else."
Yeah.
Jay. So she goes, I was thinking, and then as soon as she says I was thinking, everybody's like,
man.
He goes, I come down the stairs, I can look for my son in the kitchen, I can look around, and she has like this whole thing mapped out. He goes, well, why don't you come down the stairs and look out the window? Because that's how all the boys have already prepared themselves for it.
Wow.
And then we'll talk about what you want after I get that.
Wow.
And she goes, okay. And she goes, because I just think, he goes, I hear you, sweetheart. The guys have just set up this shot. Let's just keep them happy, and we'll keep rolling along, okay?
Wow.
She goes, okay, great. She comes down the stairs. Everywhere she walks in the house, behind her, guys are packing up lights and walking them out of the house.
Oh.
And he's going, just keep looking at me.
Oh.
Just keep looking at me out the window. Just keep staring out that window. Where could he be?
Yeah.
Where could he be? But he doesn't want her to turn around because they're literally like rolling up
they're
like carpets
finished
and
for the
shit.
day.
So when she turns around, she's in an abandoned house.
Wow, nobody
and she
gave a
can't
shit
complain.
about her little idea.
Yeah. And she goes to talk to him. They're like, oh, I think you went home.
Oh, God, that's great.
I love it.
And he goes, oh, I guess there was a misunderstanding. I thought you agreed to do it the way the guy set it up.
Wow.
Because they've been here for 2 weeks working real hard. I didn't want
So
to
they had a
disrespect
cross
them.
relationship, or was that just
No,
that
I
one
think
moment?
he put the hammer down early. Like
He does that. He lays the law down.
yeah.
Yeah. I heard
Hilary
he did
Swank,
that. I heard he did that with Kevin Costner in that movie A Perfect World. He pulled some
Good
tantrum.
movie, man.
Yeah, he pulled some tantrum, and Eastwood just shot like a guy like his double in a long shot. He goes, "I'll shoot the whole fucking movie in a long shot, and you can go home now if you know." Costner told that story that he goes, "Okay, yeah, I got to do it Clint's way. Have a little respect."
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jesus
2 weeks
Christ.
in,
Good.
and we're in overtime, by the way, Warriors. 2 weeks.
Warriors?
That's what they've named themselves.
It's a
MOHR.
cult now?
Yeah, a big one that
That's
buys
awesome.
merch. Shush.
great, man.
Shush you.
That's great.
It's a big one that buys stuff on the
Yeah.
jmohr.com, and then they go to the Amazon link, and they're gonna go look at all your stuff and hit you up on Twitter, and you'll get a bunch of followers.
Yeah, laugh.com if you want to buy my DVD.
Why don't you just have it on OttoandGeorge.com?
I'm not set up for that, credit cards and shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you let somebody else do it.
Yeah, I get
Everyone's got a
50%.
hand in your pocket.
I'm friends with Marshall Burl, Milton Berle's nephew. He runs laugh.com. He's a very good guy.
I'm
He
friends
used to
with-
manage the band Rad.
Really?
Yeah.
Love
Round and round, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Clint doesn't give you any instructions ever.
Wow.
And he tells you, we'll go in there and you guys come out and I'll pick you up. Never has any instructions whatsoever. Hilary Swank doing $1 Million Baby, which she won the Oscar for.
Yeah.
She's boxing her cock off. Like she's fighting and crying and overcoming adversity. And 2 weeks in, she goes to the camera operator, the guy that just sits on the camera and, looks through the loop. And she goes, hi, can I talk to you at lunch? And that is never going to be good. It's either like sexual harassment or I don't like the way you're looking at me.
Oh.
Like a camera operator's not used to Academy Award winner because she won for Boys Don't
Yeah,
Cry
yeah.
going, hey, at lunch, come to my trailer. I need to talk to you. And
Yeah.
it's like, the guy's panic stricken.
Yeah.
And Clint has the same crew for 18 years. Everyone is
Yeah.
the same for
Yeah.
18 years. So he goes in and she goes, hi, close the door. And he's like, oh my God, this can't be good.
Yeah.
She goes, I just got to ask you one question. And he goes, what? She goes, am I doing a good job? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, because he doesn't talk to me.
Oh.
And she starts like crying to the camera operator.
Yeah.
She won the Oscar.
Yeah, for that. And that's the movie she was talking about. Am I doing good?
During that movie,
Yeah, wow.
she had to call the camera operator who's seen everything because he's looking through the,
So if you give Eastwood a whole "What's my character's motivation?"
you will be fired.
Really?
Yeah. He watches tapes of everybody they audition. Oh, that's the other thing you like about him.
Yeah.
He's never in the audition. He goes, it's nerve-wracking enough to audition. How much more nerve-wracking would it be with me sitting behind everybody judging you?
Yeah, Dirty Harry squinting at you from the corner of the room. That's
Do
gotta
it
be very
again.
unnerving. Yeah.
This time, show me some vulnerability.
Oh man.
So yeah, you do it. He looks at tapes
Yeah.
like a crazy person. He just sits like Howard Hughes in a room, like it must be 3/4 of an inch of water in the bottle. And he just watch.
The story is that he crosses lines out of his early movies. He would cross like lines out like crazy on Fistful of Dollars. Because I don't need to say that. That's unnecessary. And it's like, what actor does that? Most actors count their lines to see that they have as many as the other guy.
Walken's the only
Yeah.
other one.
Well, he takes away the punctuation. He
That's
says.
he just made that shit up. It's a good story, but he'll just go, I wouldn't say that.
The punctuation thing's not true?
Nobody goes through a fucking script and goes, let me take out this period, because then everywhere there's a mark, you know that there was punctuation.
Oh,
He said on the Actor Studio that's the first thing he does.
takes out punctuation.
His lips to my ears.
I was on a set with him and I saw his script and it was just a script,
Yeah?
Oh.
and he just speaks funny.
Wow.
He does speak funny. He does.
Yeah, I was telling
He speaks-
Joe. I was telling Joe.
Funny how?
Joe Conti about Suicide Kings. I was telling him about that.
It's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Every time you talk about a conversation with Joe, I didn't realize till halfway through the podcast you were talking about him.
Yeah, Joe.
And
The
he's
muscle
going, me
end
and
of the
Joe,
family.
we talk comedy, man. He knows everything. I'm like, when the fuck did we talk comedy?